What do you do particularly to move yourself forward into that, positive area?
I used to hate on positive thinking, if you haven't read the book, "It Takes What It Takes" by Trevor Moawad,
Hmm.
have you heard that book?
No.
If you like sports, it's a really good book. He's a sports psychologist. Has worked with like all of the big names, like University of Alabama, Nick Saban, like all like the big names in sports. He's worked with. He used to be Russell Wilson's mindset coach. He's a big advocate of neutral thinking, which is like basically treating a situation like not as good, not as bad, but like it is what it is. So, like when he always uses the example of when the Atlanta Falcons were up 28-3 against the Patriots. And somebody on the Atlanta Falcons said, something like negative where it was like we're up 28-3, but like shoot man, this is Tom Brady, like he could come back. And like just like that negative thought alone like invites like so many other negative, it's just a spiral from there. He always preaches like just like staying in the moment and like it takes what it takes. You do what you have to do. You don't think too big, don't think too small, just it is what it is. Just go and execute. um but I've kind of like pushed back on that, and I really adopted that mentality for a long time, until I started realizing that like, okay, 80% of your thoughts are negative, um, and so you really have to like infuse positivity and like be very, very mindful to do that. Otherwise, you're not gonna get enough positivity in your mindset. So I think like when I want to talk myself into a better mindset, it's like really taking a concerted effort to like, and at times it is a really concerted effort to like think positively. As lame as that sounds, it's like you just take the time to actually like make space for positivity and be like, okay, I know that like right now I feel like absolute dog shit, but like just tell me three things right now like about myself that like that are positive, or that I'm doing right, that I can build some momentum off of. So that's like I think ultimately, and then just like sticking to your routine. I think it's easy to get like you're saying, it's easy to, okay, well, I'm feeling like crap, I'm like down on myself. I'm gonna sit this one out. I'm not gonna do my workout. That kind of mentality, like combined with like negative thoughts, is like where like you start like, okay, it's one day off now, yeah, okay, well, just one more day off. It's a slippery slope when you start like getting off your routine, especially when you're in a negative mindset.
What you just dealt with, right? On getting down on yourself and being in that negative state. At what point did you, because this is not easy, like what we're talking about. It sounds easy. It sounds really, really simple. And yet it's so challenging because like the negative sometimes it's just sometimes a bit harder to, you're learning how to control yourself, right? In a way, because it's like my thoughts, my emotions used to control me. I just, had a really hard time controlling myself. And it seems like, doing discipline stuff, like, and that's what, special forces in the military does, is like, you have to get up at a certain time. You have to like, for a period where like, you have to go through this specific training and the specific stuff that breeds discipline, right? So that way you learn to control yourself. It's like, so that way on those long runs or rucks or whatever you're doing, it's like, yeah, your body's tired, but I control my body and I'm going to keep it going. I'm going to keep my legs going because I've gotten to a point where I trained myself to not quit, not allow my body to take over and stop me, right? So how did you gain control of yourself? And what do you have to teach our listeners so they can start gaining control of themselves?
So the first thing that pops out to me is like, I'm totally, I think like from a holistic person perspective, like learning about mindset for the first time. And because back in when I was in the military, it was like I was like constantly in fight or flight mode.
Mm-hmm.
And so like it's super easy when you're thinking binary like that. Like you'd say, either like I just need to go all the time. And then you get out of the military and you realize, okay, so there's like this whole other aspect of living that I've like totally like just like pushed aside for the last 9 years. And so like now I have emotions and it's healthy and like I should be feeling emotions and like everything that I'm feeling is good. So I'm like very in a lot of ways I feel like I'm very new to this mindset thing and like being able to approach this from a like a more again more holistic approach. Um, but I think like for you know anybody that's coming from the military, it's like, hey, you're in fighter if you're especially if you're transitioning like newly out of the military, like you're in fight or flight mode, and you need to realize that, and you have a lot of learning to do, and like start investing now in like getting to know yourself and like getting out of that like very binary thinking. And just for the average person, like I think that cultivating I call it an unbreakable mindset is doing hard things. That is like ultimately at the end of the day, like you need to push yourself. If you want to understand what it's like to have a really tough mindset, the only way to do that is to put yourself into harm's way and like do things that make you feel very uncomfortable. Like if you want to know what it's like to be like a great a great athlete, like you're gonna have to like make yourself puke when you work out. You know, like those are like those that's like the limits that people like take themselves to. Like these great athletes, these great performers, that is what they've done and that they've gone through to build the mindsets that they have. So I think that is like always my number one piece of advice is like and you are like embodied this to a T. It's just like if you want to know what it feels like, just go do it and learn about it because like that's the only way you're going to learn about yourself. Like you're not going to learn about how far you can push yourself from your cubicle. Like it's just not going to happen. Um, so yeah, that would be like my piece of advice.